Start game now. Welcome everyone to another edition of the No Swear Gamer. Today I'm joined by Pac-Man, who decided to bring me another game from one icon to another. That's right, today he brought me Sonic the Hedgehog, the very original for your Sega Genesis. Remember, Sonic is not for resale, at least this copy isn't. Let's check out this cool box art here. I really dig the style. You kind of got this false kind of 3D image going on here. Got the checkerboards to kind of give you some more depth. The cool little hoop in the background. Ooh, and you got even some spikes up there on this rotating log. Definitely has a lot to do to the game and the classic Sonic the Hedgehog smirk. Let's go ahead and look at the back. It's super Sonic and super speed indeed. Man, it's definitely a classic box. Let's go ahead and put this classic game into my Sega Genesis and find out if it still holds up today. Let's go to the game. Sonic the Hedgehog came to us in 1991 and is a single-player platformer. Your goal is to stop Dr. Ivo Robotnik and his badniks, which are basically robots that are housing your animal friends. You have to do this by going through 6 zones. Each one has 3 acts, and at the end of the 3rd act of each one, you will face off against Dr. Robotnik, who's also called Dr. Eggman in the Japanese version, and he will be riding in different vehicles at the end of each zone. Rings are very important in this game because having at least one ring means you won't die if you're hit. Now, if you are hit and you have rings, they're going to spread all over the place. If you are able to gather 100 rings at the same time, you will earn an extra life, and if you hold on to 50 by the end of the stage, a giant ring will appear that if you jump into, you will enter a bonus zone for a chance to earn one of the 6 Chaos Emeralds. These bonus zones are absolutely beautiful and trippy at the same time. I mean, what other zones have fish turning into birds in the background while rotating 360 degrees? While in the bonus zones, you can collect a lot of rings to earn continues, and you can also navigate these mazes to find Chaos Emeralds, and your time in the maze will end if you find a Chaos Emerald, or if you hit a little goal marker, which will end your time in the maze just a little too soon. There's also items in the game that you can get, and they're often hidden in what appears to be computer monitors. Some of the items you can get are extra rings, extra lives, shields that will give you 1 hit of protection. You can also get temporary extra speed boost and temporary invincibility. Now, when Mario got invincible, it only came because of 1 star, but when Sonic gets invincible, he is literally covered with stars. That's some blast processing for you. The control is extremely simple in this game as it only uses 1 button and the D-pad. As a matter of fact, if you had an Atari 2600 controller, after you hit the start button on your Genesis, you could actually take it out and play the rest of the game using an Atari 2600 controller. Try it! You can also hold up or down to look above or below you, and when you're going fast enough, you can push down on the D-pad to turn into a ball that will sometimes break through walls and access hidden areas. The graphics in this game are superb, some of the best. They're very, very bright and vibrant, and I totally like the style, and I like how all the characters look. I really like the way even Sonic himself looks. It might be my favorite of all the Sonic designs. The sound and music are also some of the best in the Genesis. From the opening Sega to the opening theme, Masato Nakamura, if I'm saying his name right, did a great job composing the music for this one. And this is a family-friendly game. When you defeat the enemies, they poof, and the animal inside is let loose and free. And whenever you beat Dr. Robotnik, he basically has his face covered in smoke and soot and goes away, similar to a Looney Tunes cartoon. Now on eBay, these cartridges are fairly cheap. Loose ones go for about $5 a pop, and that includes shipping, and complete copies can go for about $10 to $15. Now, it's interesting what Sega was trying to do. When they created Sonic, they were literally trying to create a new mascot for the Sega Genesis. It would appear that Alex Kidd, who was somewhat of a mascot on the Master System, failed, and Wonder Boy was just left in the dust. Now, originally, they were going through several different ideas of animals. They came down between the hedgehog and the armadillo, and thank goodness they went with the blue hedgehog. But for a while, he was going to be called Mr. Needlemouse. Thankfully they changed that name, because I don't know if I would like it as much if it was called Mr. Needlemouse. Later on they would replace Altered Beast as the pack-in game with Sonic the Hedgehog, and this really helped give Sega an edge and gave them their first victory over Nintendo in Christmas of 1992. Up until that point, Nintendo video game-wise had ruled every single Christmas since they came out. This also led to a mascot craze that included some really bummers like Bubsy and Aereo, and some decent ones like Earthworm Jim, but no one can touch the popularity that Sonic achieved outside of Mario himself. So overall, what did I think? Would I recommend this? Well, first of all, let me just tell you, when I approached the Sonic the Hedgehog game, I view this more as an exploratory game, not so much about the speed. Even though speed is always brought up with Sonic, this is a game where I take my time. As a matter of fact, I think if you just go at it, guns blazing, trying to go as fast as you can, not knowing what you're doing, you're more likely to hit spikes or fall into some bottomless pit and not enjoy yourself because you're just dying left and right. But if you take your time, I think you can find that there's a lot to enjoy in Sonic the Hedgehog, from the hidden rooms to the beautiful levels. I think the controls are perfect. I think they control like a dream, and it's aged really well. I was impressed with Sonic the Hedgehog when it first came out as a kid, but then I picked it up about 10 years later or so, and I was really impressed with it, more so than I was a kid. This game to me has gotten better with time. It still holds up, it's incredible fun, and the bonus level might be my favorite bonus level in a video game, if not one of the top ones. It's great, and I think that it might get overlooked today, especially compared to Mario. It seems like the classic Mario games are brought up all the time, but not the Sonic games. And why is that? Well, I think part of the reason is because Mario has continued to put out quality games over time, where Sonic sadly has become basically Sega shovelware. Unfortunately, the series never transitioned well to 3D, and now it seems like they're just pumping out titles to make a quick buck out of it. But I do highly recommend this game, and I say this, if you haven't played the original Sonic the Hedgehog in years, look it up. It's available all over the place on tons of compilations, but me, I like the original in my Sega Genesis. So where am I going to rank this game? Well, obviously for me, it's going to go close to the top. So let's look at the top right now. I have Revenge of Shinobi as my #1 game. And while I really like Revenge of Shinobi, and it really is an excellent game that I would say is a must-own for a Sega Genesis fan, I'm going to put this one above it because it just controls better and it's brighter, and I just enjoy it just a little bit more. There's a lot to like about Revenge of Shinobi, but there's a lot to like about Sonic the Hedgehog as well. At this time, I'd like to give a special shout out to the Genesis Gems. I'm a member of the Retro Junkies Network, so are they, and they are a podcast that covers games like Sonic the Hedgehog on a game-by-game basis. And actually, when they covered Sonic the Hedgehog, they said that this was a gem, and I totally agree with them. So look them up on iTunes or Facebook or anywhere else. Anyways, guys, thank you for giving me a little part of your day. I hope you had a Sonic-rific one, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on the No Swear Gamer. Take care, everybody.